Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, guys. Welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't, if you're first time here. And if you're watching us from realtruthseekers.com, rts.video, yes, realtruthseekers.com is one of our main sponsors for Heliopsychosis podcast and most of our coming productions. So make sure you guys check out rts.video. And yes, what an awesome topic we have today too. Like maybe some of our panelists maybe are not really on for this discussion. So that's why maybe they are still not here, our rest of the panelists. But yes, I have my co-host with me, Gene. Gene, brother, how are you?
Hey, Vika. Doing good, brother. I love this topic tonight, man. Very happy to be here with you. And thanks for having me and putting the show together. And hello to everybody in the chat. We got some old friends out there. And good to see Dr. Frankenstein. The pineal gland, Vika. This is a really excellent topic because this is something that people have been slowly and less slowly, more and more getting used to the idea of the world behind the mind and the visual physical world, and that's your third eye, and that's kind of like your third eye observes what your eyes see and what your mind thinks at that same time. It's a very different world and hard to get a hold of real quick. But I'm glad to be here, brother, and very happy to say and think that there's a lot of people out there really getting into this subject lately, past 10 years, and more so the past 5 and 2. It's just been growing exponentially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, brother. And the pineal gland and the third eye is also connected with the truth. And maybe some people think, oh, why? What does this have to do with flat Earth and everything? We already discussed the vibration, the energy and frequencies, right? On this realm and in us, right? So, and the toroidal field. Yep, go ahead.
And crystals and vibration of them and internal lights. There's a lot of this that we've covered and hits on this too. The Egyptians knew about things like this. How would the Egyptians know about that, right? A little.
Exactly. They are not only sharing the shape of the earth and the cosmology, they're also sharing this knowledge, right?
Oh yeah. They had deep understanding of the of, I guess, the spiritual world, because it's not exactly mental, it's more spiritual, I think. And it separates the differences between.
Oh yeah, it was a part of the teachings of most of the ancient cosmologies and ancient cultures, and including in the Bible too, right?
Right. Jesus said, what did he say about the lamp in your mind lights your whole body? So if your lamp is lit well, your whole body should be okay.
If your eye is one, right, it's just literally indicating, right?
Right. Yeah, very interesting. A lot of them do have that sort of similarity right there in that little sentence or two right there that you can link them to other older.
Exactly. It says the light, the light of the body is the eye.
Mm.
So if therefore thy eye be single,
right,
thy whole body shall be full of light. That's from Matthew 6:22.
Very cool.
So nobody can say, that what we are going to be discussing today is demonic or whatever, or spirituality or esoteric, or no. This There's also science behind this. Okay, if we are going to discuss it later in a scientific way, so that people don't really think that we are speculating or we are just speaking about fantasy, right?
No, science even has a lot of questions about the pineal gland. They know it produces serotonin, melatonin, and that's about it. They don't know why. It's like our clock, our internal clock. As soon as your eyes see daylight or light, it starts to produce serotonin. And the opposite, as soon as you shut down, your eyes stop seeing light, starts to produce melatonin. And they don't know how or why, but why is that? But they don't really know how, among other things.
Yeah, they try to define it in a, like, what kind of reaction is happening, on the cellular level, what kind of chemicals are being produced, and what's the reaction and the effect. They're trying to define it in a more rational and scientific way. But there
Right.
exists that because there have been a lot of studies behind these researches, right? And it's been years, it's not new that they are, right? And even it's from the Greek times.
Right. Sure.
They're already behind it.
Well, I got to think that they just trickle these tests out, but they really know. They know which tests will fail or look nice to the public or whatever. That's always my opinion with what's going on around here in this world. I think they know way more than they ever tell us at once. And maybe even with the internet, like we've said once or twice, that the internet, they had to let all of it out. So that kind of was a double-edged sword. They had to be willing to swing.
Oh yeah. So just now we also read that verse from the Bible, right? But
Mhm.
there are people who call this activation of this third eye or the pineal gland as the forbidden fruit. Okay.
Really?
Exactly. And especially the Bible believers, some of the Bible believers, not all, because many understand that that was really the teaching of the Jesus.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, because they try to put that concept that Eve eat that forbidden fruit, right?
Wow.
And then gave it to Adam, and they became naked, right? So they are like saying, be away from this forbidden fruit, because that was the real forbidden fruit to that the God said not to eat. But how the hell does this work? How the hell does this work? That you have that forbidden fruit within you.
Right.
Why the hell is it within me if it's not supposed to be activated, or if it's not supposed to be used?
And there are ways to use it, and they you know there are ways to activate it and be in connection with it, contact with it.
Exactly, but my point here is, okay, so there are some Bible believers who are saying and demonizing this and saying that this is the forbidden fruit and you're not supposed to touch it or play with it or whatever. And then on the other hand, we have
Right.
the verses which is explaining that. Then we have the Gospel of Thomas, which is all connected with that oil and bringing up that oil up and finding your Christ inside you when it reaches the pineal gland. You have that other teaching on the one side, and then on the other side we have one of the biggest sign of pine cone that exists in the world. Can you tell me where it is?
In the Vatican.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what the hell is going on here?
Right. Right.
Right?
And
There
the
are some
pineal.
who are, yeah. Go ahead.
That's where the pineal came from. Some say it's the pineal, where the inflection of the syllable is, but it's a pine cone shape, and when it opens, that's what they're, it's like the Fibonacci sequence when it opens, that flower, but they know about it.
Exactly,
A lot of
but what
celebrities.
they don't want. Yeah, go ahead, G.
I was going to say a lot of celebrities will talk about it too. So I'm not into the celebrities, but some people are. But when the more popular people start talking about things, I think it's a diversion because they're going to give you some stupid version of things, really.
Yeah, that only because these people speak, so the people are gonna listen and understand.
Right.
But the thing is, these people or many people want that the majority don't wake up through this knowledge of the third eye, right? But they themselves are flashing these pineal gland structures right in the middle. Also the sacred geometry, the lion with its paws on the sacred geometry. All this is supposed to be for the few selected ones. So that's why there are misinterpretations and misinformation about many of these things, especially in the Bible or around the Bible or with you know what I mean. So the people, they don't want the people to wake up. Some people, I don't know how much truth is there to this, but some people even say, in a way, when they are baptizing, it's like they are closing your pineal gland, so you don't question more than the God that you are been expecting in with this baptism. You know what I mean? Don't
Ceremonial
question.
things are
Don't go
strange.
ahead. Surrender. Be till there. That's it. So there are
And
people
that
who are
could be
pushing
like
this.
There could
Yeah,
be like a ceremonial cleansing of your mind like that too. And who knows, how powerful water is. So that's interesting.
exactly. Exactly. So there are some people who are pushing this. There are some people who are pushing that is a forbidden fruit. There are some people who are literally know the real meaning of that, be bringing that oil, the lion, the Leo, the heart chakra within up to our pineal gland,
Mm.
right? So it's in many different cultures.
It's
Not
even
only,
it's
yeah,
it's even represented in the caduceus in the medical symbol.
exactly. It's at the top of that, because it's representing the kundalini and the rising of that oil.
Right. Right. And so they put it right in our face how it rises, and it I guess what does it go? It goes down. It's one spiral, comes back up the other spiral with a different vibration. And that's why we've even said before too, Vikka, that the pineal gland is one of the most targeted for destruction, parts of the human body, among everything. But the pineal gland is very highly targeted with the fluoride going on and all the diseases that are targeting that part of in the brain. Calcify it, stop it from emitting light and receiving light. Some animals even have like I think like snakes have direct light right from their eyes right into their brain where their pineal gland would be. We
Oh
don't have
yeah,
that, right? Yeah, and birds have a skull so thin that the light can go right through. So the reason for certain things, we produce our own light, and that's the thing they don't want us to do, is to produce that light.
exactly. Because the pineal gland is not just in humans. The most animals have a pineal gland.
Right.
Descartes, in his famed studies of the pineal, falsely asserted that only humans carry this sacred organ.
Mm.
But that's not true. And it's suspected that animals' pineal gland gives them instinct. In fact, an animal pineal is often much larger than that of humans.
Ah, that's interesting. I guess percentage wise, right? Because ours is about a quarter inch. 5/16 maybe, like a
Yeah,
pea
almost the
or a
size of a
pea.
pea.
Yeah, very small, and it's center. It's like behind your ear in the center, almost dead center.
And this makes sense as their source of food and water have not been fluorided, you know, or
Right.
treated with fluoride. The same way ours have. When unused, any muscle or organ becomes atrophied. In humans, with no true reliance on the pineal, we have allowed it to become dormant. Animals, on the other hand, are still relying on their pineal gland to preserve life.
Wow. So it's like their compass as well.
Exactly.
Very cool.
And groups of animal working as one mind.
Yeah, Keith was talking about that. That's so
So it's
cool.
the same thing, and that's
Wow.
because of the pineal gland. You imagine, so
Wow.
what possibility we humans have if the majority decalcify their pineal gland or activate,
Wow.
would work the same way.
Right, like when birds flock and they do those swirls in the air and they never touch each other, like thousands of birds,
Exactly. The geese,
and
when they fly together, they do it
right,
in unison, like communicating telepathically where to move.
amazing. Fish do it as well.
Exactly.
Wow, bugs. Wow, all of nature. That's wild. I never thought it would be the pineal gland though. Wow, it's making sense though.
So imagine it offers a powerful illustration of this one mind concept. What do you think? If the animals have, we can't have that?
Oh, absolutely. That's like we've really kind of been talking a lot about these things. This we're talking about the ether now. This is like our antenna, as we are the remote control, right? Or the little vehicle being remote controlled.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We got no problem thinking that we can have a remote control boat race or a little car race or plane, whatever. And I just feel like we are remote control. Your mind is not tangible, so it is the intangible controlling the tangible. It's great. If you control that more, then you're less reactive to things.
Exactly, because that's the function of the pineal, which allows them to be in instant telepathy with one another.
Right. Right. Like we say, you can send if I could send a photo from New York to Spain in, 0.25 seconds or whatever it takes. And we could do that with our minds. Well, all this stuff we have right now, all this high end technology is really low end technology that takes us away from our personal high end technology that you're talking about, bro. That we could be doing all of this stuff without these phones. And it could be really simple too. It could be very simple, but we just don't know.
Absolutely, bro. There is no individuality of thought. Rather, all are working as a collective whole for the welfare of the group.
I believe that. I've been into patents my whole life, creating things, this and that, right? And I know that. Bet you a lot of you guys have heard that um, throughout the years, patents across the world have been applied like within 2 or 3 days of each other, like very significant patents. I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but something like the light bulb or something like that, big ones. And there were a few that were patented across the world with supposed very little communication, and virtually the same idea is patented within a day or two of each other. So that collective mind is out there. You just got to be in touch with it.
Oh yeah. And if we are able to capture the same unified consciousness for humans, we would quickly move into unity and deeply embrace the true field of oneness,
It's so true.
knowing we are all connected.
Yeah, well, that's why everything is like such a competition-driven world, right? To compete and be better than everybody else.
Exactly, and race, religion,
Yeah,
and many other
everything.
aspects.
Shoes,
Yeah,
hats, cars, pencils, you name it, you compete for it.
exactly. Because in reality, to save the world, you don't need to like go to war or do revolutions and all this. If the humans could understand this concept that other living things use, because we also have it, we could really give solution to many things, because we are manifesting what is within, right? And the controllers are doing a great job by keeping a divide in every aspect, in every manner, so we never understand that, because that's a possibility without moving an inch. Anybody, that's how powerful is the pineal gland. It's a part of our organ. And why the hell it's going to be inside us if it is forbidden?
That doesn't make sense. That's a divide tactic. When you want to use every potential you have, guys, no, I would.
Exactly.
Sure.
So the third eye is our greatest gift to connect us to the source and remind us of a universe much more mystical than that which we perceive with our physical senses. It's through the awakening of the third eye and its corresponding pineal gland that we are able to attain supernatural feats of telepathy, psychic vision, and an intimate connection with the source or God or whatever you want to call it.
Vikka, that's how yogis get to sit there for days and not move. Maybe a little exaggeration, but people say, don't they, want pleasures in life, and they do have pleasure doing that. It's that they give up the smaller pleasures to get that greater pleasure from inside your mind.
Oh yeah, unless you won't experience it, you won't know how pleasure it is.
Right?
There is no other desire, physical desire can
Right.
replace that, right?
It's true. It's true.
And these yogis or gurus or masters or whoever, when they are in those nature or caves or wherever forests doing their meditations for days, months, and years without much physical contact, food or whatever, it's because they are on that higher frequency. They've learned to detach themselves from that physical being. That guy who's very famous for going in the ice and everything, right? And he could be under ice or swim under ice.
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all use that kind of meditation and practice to get to that level. You cannot just,
I would die. That would But no, you're right. It's extremes of things that bring you into different places that you might not have expected.
Oh, yeah. Rare is a conversation on consciousness, well being without a mention of the pineal gland. Its prevalence is more than a fad, it's an impressive first step to attaining our full human potential. So, the pineal gland is a pea sized gland shaped like a pine cone, located in the middle of the brain. Once a revered tool of seers and mystics, is now largely dormant, its divine purpose partly lost over the ages. It's the organ of supreme universal connection, and its significance appear in every culture throughout the world. Like the chakra system is the way the spirit moves within the physical body. How spirit animate form. The chakras can be imagined as wheels of energy. To remain balanced and open for optimal human function. If stagnation appears within the chakra system, the physical body will be affected with unease, depression, and even illness. Again, wheels, right? It's important how they move, right? Are they aligned? Are they in rhythm?
Yeah, exactly. And how the top one is affected by the bottom one.
Exactly. Chakras are energy centers, whereas organs have defined locations. The chakras are ruled by the organs, but are not confined to a specific location. The heart chakra, for instance, is in the center of the chest, while the physical heart is on the left side. So, similarly, the third eye chakra is located in the center of the forehead near the pineal gland. Go ahead, Gene.
You know, I just heard recently someone saying that they're telling us that the heart is in the center of the chest now.
Yeah, the Mandela effect, right?
Yeah, I heard that TikTok, but I've heard it before that too. And I was a while ago, and I'm like, the heart in the center of the chest. What are they talking about? And I just kept, didn't pay too much attention, but it stuck out. And then I saw that TikTok. I'm like, oh wow, a little weird. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you like that.
No, 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 no. It was, this is the thing. They want to confuse the people, right? They want to tell that this is your whole existence is not true. Everything is just a simulation, and everything is just a made up thing. That's why they're creating all this Mandela effect, and uh, it's it's twisting things, so that the people start doubting themselves, and they would say, "Who the hell? What is it? Everything,
Oh,
everything, right?"
that's for sure. Good point.
So the pineal gland is known as the third eye chakra or Ajna chakra. in the Vedic system. A closed ajna is said to lead to confusion, uncertainty, cynicism, and pessimism. Every historic traditions heralded that the third eye as our connection to spirit. It's the space between humans and gods, moving us from the isolation experience in the human condition. Through an open and vibrant third eye, we can find our highest source of ethereal energy. A return path to God is offered when one works to expand the third eye awareness. So, what's the function of the third eye or the pineal gland? The pineal gland significance have been suppressed over the ages and was long discarded as a vestigial organ. The Greeks maintained. Yep, go ahead, Gene.
What is that? I'm not sure what that means, bro. What kind of organ they call it?
Vestigial organ, like some that not giving that importance, right?
Right, like a pancreas or something, right?
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. I just want to check.
The Greeks maintained it, ruled thought. Like the guy Descartes held it as the seat of the soul.
All right. Right. They call it the silver cord to the higher dimensions. Also, some people. And they
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
People see that when they're dying or they have accidents and experiences, stuff like that.
Yeah, near death experience or out of body experience or a trauma or
Yeah. And science has to acknowledge it, so they do, of course, and they got medication if you're not producing enough, of course. But that's as far as they'll go with it, because they have to explain it somehow, but they're not going to go into any kind of detail that we're trying to talk about.
exactly. So such controversies over something so small hints at its extraordinary legacy. While the physical eye perceives the physical world, the third eye sees the true world, a unified whole with an unyielding connection to the God or source. In this way, the third eye acts as the captain's seat of our soul.
That's great. That's where your true feelings of goodness and well-being for everybody come from, right? And that's like when you, like I said before, almost when your eyes are looking and your mind is thinking, your third eye is recording it all, seeing and watching.
Absolutely.
And I think that's how it knows how to handle what more you can handle, right? How much more to give you and how much more you can take and what areas in your life, because there's no bias inside your mind. You're not trying to trick yourself into anything, right? I hope not. I mean, geez. But
Oh, it's just an extra sense, brother, and the most important one, right?
No, it is a sixth sense, absolutely. And everybody's experienced it. I don't believe in coincidences. You just sometimes things when that person calls you when you thought of them a week ago and they call you. It's something happened there. It's not a coincidence. Something happened. You your minds crossed each other in a world we can't see.
True.
And the same
Also,
with, right, the same with like the inventions being, applied for the patents on the same day. It's the same sort of idea. They're out there, and we were taking away the ability to see it more freely. It's like reading another language almost. Like I couldn't read Spanish or Chinese or something. It makes no sense to me, and the opposite too. So it's just almost the same thing, and it could be real simple.
exactly, because the universal language is understood by every soul, right? Could be from any part of the world, but
Right.
when the soul connects,
Right. All the barriers are taken away at that point. Any physical, mental, barriers in speech, understanding, it's all over. It's gone. And it's just a beautiful understanding of everything together.
exactly, and just because someone is not using that extra senses, doesn't mean that that sense don't exist, right?
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean that if you use that extra senses, you're going to go to hell. You're going to create hell if you don't start using those senses.
That I
Because
believe more.
sooner or later, you're going to see that it's required to use those senses to get the answers of the questions that you never imagined could exist.
You know what I would think? People be afraid to tap into that because then they think people can read their minds, and they don't want people reading their minds.
Oh yeah, exactly. Why you think it's prohibited, right? Many different way of reaching is prohibited, right?
Right. Can't read people's minds. It's none of your business, right? But if you're not thinking negativity or so-called negativity, you ain't got nothing to worry about. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
That's how I look at it.
So we can see how the functions of the pineal gland contribute to a metaphysical universe. Glands, by design, secrete important hormones. Like the melatonin is produced by the pineal gland, and the reproductive hormones, like controlling our circadian rhythms and productive hormones. So it's have a really important function, the melatonin. This makes the pineal a master regulator of time, affecting not only our sleep patterns, but also our sexual maturation. More than just sleep regulating, the melatonin release also affect our stress and ability to adapt to a changing world. Quite simply, our happiness and the well-being is directly affected by the harmony in the pineal. And we all know about DMT, right? Through the function of the pineal still remains elusive. Several recent assertion connects dimethyltryptamine DMT to the pineal gland. DMT is a natural occurring substance that brings vivid visuals and profound psychic encounters. It's the doorway to the God from within, and is the subject of much excitement. Certain plants also contain DMT and are ingested ceremonial across the world to aid in consciousness expansion.
Right, Fika, and they've been doing that for thousands of years, like since recorded history, probably.
Oh
And
yeah,
and you think they found that out by accident? You think they tried all the plants and they found these? Like, no, these guys know how to find these things. They know which ones are going to heal you. They know what you got, well, how you're sick, which plants are going to heal you, and that goes with what we're talking about right now is mental healing.
exactly. And all those healers and the shamans and the forecast of their crops and the season and everything related to that was because of those plant medicines, right? And all those wisdom
Exactly.
and knowledge that is to come, because there was no mobile phones thousands of years, right?
Yeah,
And they have
right.
to know the weather, they have to know things, they have to know how the year is going to be, they have to know what's coming in the next month,
Conditions.
right?
Wow,
The
yeah,
conditions.
exactly. Yes. No, they just knew the realm way better than we did. They were way more in touch with the subtle aspects of it, like birds are and animals are, in ways that they tell us, oh, what a mystery. We're figuring that it's not. It is a mystery, but we're figuring out more things than they're going to tell us. That's for sure. See, we can learn a lot from birds and the bees.
Oh yeah. And all the shamans, and from be it in from Americas, to be it from Siberia, to be it from any part of the world, they all share this knowledge too, you know, because I think the medicine is what gave them the scientific thinking,
Mm.
right?
Well, plants are magical. You know, what do you think pharma does, guys? They go destroy countries to go find 4 leaves so they can reproduce it in a factory, because the plants have the answers. Pharma don't. They're just reproducing bad versions of the answers. That's what's going on. The answers are in the plants, and how to join the plants and the roots and the berries and the leaves and the different aspects of all the plants together for different things that are going on with you. And by
Exactly, because yeah.
well, I was just going to throw in that we had, under 100 years ago, we had far less ailments. This is all coming from the food and the air and the water. So that's no mystery there. And
Exactly.
to calcify the pineal gland is one of their biggest targets.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because what they do is they rip off the essence, the spirit of that plant medicine, which is supposed to heal us, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they synthesize things, they really rip off. They just separate the soul and the spirit, and the
Oh,
body,
God.
of that.
It's a massive disconnect.
Exactly. So even if you eat or take whatever, it's not having that real essence of it, because of being synthesized, right? And these ancients people knew, because they were connecting to the plant, because everything is an organism, right? Part of this realm,
That's right.
which lives and breathes, right? So there was an automatic communications,
Mm-hmm.
right, of be it literature, be it philosophy, be it technology, be it wisdom, be it whatever, right?
Well, I would think that they're connecting with the pineal gland and being told what's right for them in their region and what they're doing in their situation. which
Oh yeah,
changes. Hmm.
you know about Teres McKenna, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Sure.
Exactly. So the
Stoned ape
Teres
theory.
McKenna's theory, right?
Yeah, the stoned ape theory.
Yeah, the stone death theory. We don't believe in those evolution way, but as humans, why not? No, why not? Right? To what other way would be humans trying to connect and get information from the other side?
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, I think this is where the evolution really is. Everybody is in our minds and in our spirit and our body too. Just be healthy, think healthy, and you will be healthy. I struggle with that. I get some back pain for chronic back pain, so I battle with it. And sometimes I win. Sometimes you're the windshield. Sometimes you're the bug.
Oh yeah, small, uncomfortable things, chronic, all this stuff. We are humans. We are not perfect.
Mm.
Okay, that's one thing. But the other thing is having some serious stuff. So there is a difference there. Not how do you say? Having a real hard time all the life is one thing, and just having some hard time sometime because you are physical in this realm is bearable, right? It's
Right.
understandable, right?
Yeah. I'll always say if I can, like, how I'll take the pain in this world for anybody. I will. And if the pain I got to live through could come to me instead of someone else, I'll take it. Really, when I went to go get surgery, my thoughts were they were wheeling me in. I said, I hope you guys learn so much that you never have to do this surgery again on anybody. You know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think it's all like helped along. All of the elements we got are just kind of induced a little bit by this and that, and just the world that I picture in my mind wouldn't have all these things that we're all going through, and the disjointed thoughts about what goes on after this world and in this world. It'd be a much more settled place if it was up to me.
exactly, because as we spoke, right, the rat race, right? So it's too late when the people realize that there is something more to life than all the physical um, desires and everything you want to accumulate and hang on to, right? And thinking that that's everything in life, and we're
Right.
gonna take everything with us. Nothing. We're not gonna take nothing with us, right?
Nothing at
Other
all.
than this, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
Maybe just the experience of it and what you learn from it overall.
Exactly. And what you really put out energetically, right? For the collective, right? Everybody lives for themselves, right? What we do for others, right?
Well, you got to take care of yourself, but you got to do it for others too. You got to be healthy inside to be healthy outside, I think.
Oh yeah, exactly. And to pass on the good energy and vibes, you need to have that too, right? So you have to sort yourself out before.
Absolutely. Like you say, find your north, right, Vikka?
Exactly.
Keep your
If you
north and you'll be good.
if your head is not well furnished, nothing
Yeah,
is gonna work.
that's funny. Yeah, we had a saying as kids when you did something dumb, we'd say, yeah, top, what was it? Top unfurnished room on the top floor for rent. Meaning your mind was empty, kind of.
Exactly. That's why people who are that connected and are awakened and have that connection, for them, they can see very well, right? Even if they are 60, 70, 80, 90, they know they don't forget things, they are much more sharp, So why is all this? Because the head is well furnished.
Makes good sense.
So such access to the divine is highly sought and is currently experiencing a resurgence for sincere spiritual seekers. Because we all are truth seekers, right?
You got to think so. People are it's just, it's like a collective. They're learning from what we went through. Hopefully, that this system is not necessary, and it's gone too far. And if we had our pineal gland activated, we were talking with our minds to each other and the animal kingdom, we wouldn't want anything to do with this system. I really believe that.
Oh, yeah. And being as seekers, that we want to know what the shape of our earth is and why we have been lied to and all the other aspects of seeking, this should be a part of seeking too, because this is the real ultimate seeking. Because when you seek this and you find this, automatically you have an access to everything that exists and everything that word cannot define, and everything happening to you and around you. Right, like as in the Vedic, they have this Akshik record. It's like the blueprint, right? It's like accessing your blueprint.
Right, the Akashic record, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's what all the thoughts that ever were, ever could be, all the information is right in the air in front of us all the time, too. It's crazy. And just like a radio, you got AM, FM, different shortwave, right? And you got all these stations on all those different wavelengths. It's so similar. And if you dial in, if you tune in, right, you
You're
know.
gonna start receiving, right?
Right, exactly. Remember we said, Vikka, that if you take 3 tuning forks and 2 of them are the same, and you ring one of the 2 that are the same, and you put it near the similar one, that will ring, and then you put it near the different one, and it doesn't ring. And you can do that without touching it. Like I said, you put it near it, so just the vibration through the air will ring the other one because it's in tune. It's the same structure, and the other one's a different structure. So it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and it doesn't react to it, and it's simple as that.
So you imagine, brother, with the humans, if we could match that vibration, everybody, so how we all could connect and start vibrating everyone on the same
Right.
frequency, right?
I really, I do. I think people think it's like, oh, you can read my mind. You can't read my mind. I think that's what part of the problem might be. It's like, it's not exactly like that, but no, to have a collective mind of well-being for everybody is, again, that's something they don't want. They want the competition and division and happy. I won. I'm happy. All right.
Oh yeah, like temporary satisfaction and happy in material. That's what they want us, like
Right.
consuming society, right? Be happy in a cycle of things they have prepared for us all the
Exactly.
year around, you know.
Yeah, all the seasonal sports, the winning and losing, it's all engineered, and they probably know all these seasons winners and losers 5 years from now.
Exactly.
I would.
So the implications of it being within us already opens even more intrigue, hinting at just how little we know. If the pineal is the seat of the soul, it is only too fitting that DMT lives there too.
Yeah, people say when they take stuff like that, like the common, like the funny line they'll say is, "I saw God." Literally, that's it. They're like, "Oh my God, I saw God taking that stuff." You do. You feel like you're absolutely no question about it that you are connected with every single thing, everywhere, and there's no separation between you and everything else. That's what I heard.
Oh yeah, it's just a different route to the same destination,
Mm.
right? It's just a tool, you know.
Right.
So the people who are meditating in the mountains or in the forest or anywhere, you know, or doing that breath exercise or doing any kind of sports, or they're trying to really connect, right? So DMT and any other of these psychedelics, which makes you think and makes you connect, is just a different route, right? But it's all about the same. It's about the pineal gland and activating that I within, right? So different people take different routes, you know. And there could come to a point that you don't need to take any route because it's there, you know. You are at that point that is just
Right. You have
you can
access to it
access
at any
it
moment.
at any time, right? So
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Like we were saying before, it's control. It's just learning how to control little subtle aspects of what's going on around us that we might not even know about. But if you learn them, you'll find the truth.
exactly. Dr. Frankenstein is saying opening doors. You may not want layers upon layers. Exactly. So there are different ways to open the same door. And
Mm.
once that door is open, it ain't gonna close.
No, you didn't want it to close.
It just depends how much effort you put in to open that door. How much time you give other than the other things that you have to do in life than to open that door.
That's a good point, Vikka. Time dedicated to yourself. Not just to yourself to go like, do your hobby or whatever, but to that connection to yourself.
Exactly, because the people ignore the people ignore their own self, right? Sometimes they
Sure.
don't want to question and get the answers, right? They want to distract themselves with their three-dimensional life to say, I have things to do, I have this thing, things are going on, I have to do that, life is like this, right? It's
Sure.
all excuse to ignore that calling that's from within.
It's a good point. And that's part of the reason why they got us on that hamster wheel. So it's easy to say that, right? Oh,
Exactly.
it's too late tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. Hey, did you know that they found that oysters were um, following what appeared to be the tides, but they were really following with the moon? And then they pulled these oysters out of New York, or out of Massachusetts. They put them in Chicago somewhere in a dark room, and they kept that cycle for a certain amount of time.
Oh yeah, because they have that sense,
Yeah,
which is not physical, right?
right. Or if it's physical, it's like in such a subtle sense that, you know, you think of was it oysters? I think it was. Imagine being an oyster.
So what is the spiritual significance of the third eye? Like the reputation of the third eye lies far beyond its physical properties and becomes transcendent in its spiritual implications. Developing a third eye is the doorway to all things psychic, telepathic, clairvoyance, lucid dreaming, and astral projection. It's the quiet space within where we can touch God. So God is right there in you, and you are looking for God all around in all different manners. But the closest you have is within, right?
It is. It is. I remember telling my uncle he wanted me to go to church with him. We're building log cabins up in the woods. There was nothing around, and I told him that we're in a church right now. That I'm not comfortable going into buildings and saying stuff like that. You know, I'll wait this one out. But that's how I feel. The whole place is a church, and I I I talk to my inner self often, all day. Even you realize all your thoughts go through God or Creator, whatever you call it, in your mind. I think nothing gets to you without going through your spirits first, because they know how much you can handle. And
Exactly.
right, we are being tested because you want to be tested. You don't grow without testing like this in a natural situation. So that's why when you look at things and you think, that's what your third eye is registering. Your emotions behind your thoughts and your visuals and your life and your situations, how you handle them for real, no filters.
Exactly the same way as we say about the gut feeling, and we analyzing with our normal senses. So there are these other senses which helps you understand the problem or the situation at a much deeper level. So the illusion of separation dissolves when we learn to master the far reaching tools of the pineal gland, because it's inside the brain but outside the mind. A paradox is formed, creating a loophole to escape the contradictions of this reality. The Egyptians thought that when we can contain this paradox, freedom is achieved. Every mystery school thought the metaphysical way of being, how to be awake within the dream, to walk between realities and surpass the limitation of humanity. No teaching is without its doctrines on the third eye, as it is the first building block of all psychic skills.
Yeah, it's that good internal conversation, I think. It's in your mind. Connect with your mind, guys. Your mind will tell you. And you'll be able to weed out the nonsense yourself when you're serious. And things get clearer. With practice, right? Anything you practice gets better. So.
Oh yeah, because it's focus. No, it's all about focus. So even a sportsman, what he's doing is just focusing on its sports and the techniques. It's like using your third eye, because the focus is so good that they can predict where, if they're playing football, where the ball is going to be in certain situation, right? Or a businessman, the way he does business and the way he moves so much money and everything, because he's so much focused on that particular work or function. That is also using your third eye in a way, right?
Sure, absolutely, bro. Whatever you're good at, you connect with yourself. You be good at what you do. Like we were talking about that book, Carlos Castaneda, A Separate Reality. If you whatever you're good at, you connect inside with yourself. It becomes better. It's just magical.
Exactly, and everything related to it will come to you because you are putting the time, energy, and effort in understanding that.
That's true. And when you recognize the universe recognizes you back.
Oh yeah.
Right? Definitely.
So without a solid mastery of this chakra, the third eye chakra, no spiritual connections are possible. And we are relegated to experiencing only a mundane three-dimensional life. Exactly. You can have a feeling, you can feel good, you can feel the connection, you can get stimulated, your senses could be heightened and everything else. But the real spiritual connection is not going to happen till the activation of this gland, until you really start seeing, because the moment that eyes open, you will see that you were blind all the time before that. So it's like really being reborn, right?
It is in your mind. You're able to weed out the nonsense from the news from the reality. Becomes a whole new world too, though. Even the outside world is different when you change this way. Just everything changes. Like we woke up in a whole new world almost.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everything changes because, as we say, the two person can be living in the zone or area, but they both could be living on different frequencies, right? As we spoke about the bubble, right? The bubble that it exists, energetic aura or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Well,
So
it's
once,
the
yep,
bubbles,
go ahead.
the bubbles are like a frequency change. If you're in a bubble, there's just a different frequency. You can't get in, can't get out, or whatever. Similar, right?
Exactly, but it's also in a way because you are on that frequency. So even three-dimensional stuff is not going to affect you, be it how bad or how, you know what I mean, or energy wise or situation wise or
Very little. I'm not
yeah.
impervious to it, but I got a good attitude. I'm pretty strong inside usually. I'm lucky like that. I'm so lucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, almost like I feel guilty sometimes, but it's what it is, right? Like I feel guilty about how I care and display that. Like, I do care. It's not like I don't care. It's just that just how things. I choose to deal with them, right, and not react to things is really where I learned a lot. Like instead of just reacting. How I learned a lot of that too. Was not posting with these clowns on Facebook as much. I would react to them. I swear to God. Oh my God, they would get under my skin, and I'm like, oh, this is like the refs were doing in hockey years ago. That's why I stopped watching TV. So came around full circle a couple times.
So in the ancient days of Egypt, when the psychic development was at its peak, certain pineal exercises were developed. Rather than being the size of a pea, it's told that the pineal gland was the size of a peach.
Wow.
Crazy. And the suppression of the pineal gland, right? If you want to control the masses, you feed them fear and squash hope. Deactivating the pineal would then be a brilliant tactic to ensure no one can touch God. But instead, one must go through the sanctioned gateways, in most cases, churches, etc., right? First, the importance of this gland is eradicated. Then, ways to disconnect people from accessing this source of knowledge are implemented. The calcification of the pineal gland is common if the third eye is not being used. Certain foods and fluoride are also known to contribute to its calcification. So pump people with fluoride and exalt the importance of calcium in every diet.
Yeah, plus all the other stuff they got jammed in there, and they relabel things left and right. When they find out that you shouldn't call it, don't call it that, call it this now.
Yeah,
It'll take
yeah,
us 10 years to catch up to them because they changed the name.
exactly. Because the true purpose is that.
It is, and along with the other stuff to in a micro way make us all sick and just sluggish and dopey, I guess, kind of, to what's really going on around us. And part of the reason they don't want us to be able to read minds is because then we know that we have to live in fear because their fear is garbage. It's propaganda. They go from one story to the next. But if that one don't work, They bop to the next one. When that works, they'll hammer that to death, and then they bop to the next one. And that, right? You know what I'm talking about. Half the shit ain't even going on.
Oh yeah, and so many other are are working like robots for these controllers to keep the deception going because they don't really truly understand the message, and they're doing free work for the rest of the humanity, right? To
Yeah.
keep this indoctrination going.
Dangling the financial carrot in front of these guys. High positions in big places, lots of money, TV.
Exactly. The initial manipulation of the information was enough for that domino effect to take form in itself. So this disinformation continues on its own, is fueled by the same people for the people. Screw everybody.
It's true. Right. Yeah. Me first. Me first in the gimmies. I think people like to be afraid, though. It's exciting. It's like going on a roller coaster that you don't have to get on.
Oh yeah. I think we spoke about in one of our podcasts, like that, like the human are like, some of the humans are like encoded in a way, like the people love being in
Drama, chaos, and confusion, and right.
yeah, it's a way of survival tactics.
That's the way to keep your mind off of real things too, though. Talk about nonsense.
Exactly. So this will surely blur the effectiveness of the pineal gland, so much of processed stuff and fluoride. And most people over the age of 18 now have a calcified pineal gland,
Wow.
where a hard shell forms around the gland, and our access to the realms beyond this reality are effectively shut off. It's like prison planet right here. You can't escape, right?
No, it is. I can't imagine that, though. I couldn't imagine that.
So the same way the globe Earth, yeah, the same way the globe Earth is a planet, is a prison planet because everybody thinks if they go around they're gonna come back the same way. So in the same with the third eye, they're just blocked it in a way as we spoke about. So it's not gonna let people go beyond because the ability exists, right? When we speak about that, some people say that to go to the North Pole or to go beyond Antarctica, so there's a energy shields that which wouldn't allow us to pass through, right? Until we are on that particular frequency, right? So this could be a technology that is built in, which would help us to go and explore what we cannot physically, because it's not only about physical, right?
You can visit places in your dreams, guys. You know that. Lucid
It's
dreams is not that difficult.
exactly, and these visitations are more real than any of your other visitations that you do in this three-dimensional life,
Very exciting.
because you are in that true essence of yourself when you have these experiences. Okay, so there could be races who dominate this kind of technology, because for me it's a technology that it's built in it. For me it's like a time machine, right? That you could access different worlds, different contacts, different communication, different exchange, different knowledge, wisdom, healing, right?
That's interesting. That could be the way to do it, Vika. In a meditative state, in a dream world. I had an out of body experience once. On my way to bed, I was lucid dreaming a lot, and I was wide awake in a full blown dream. It was really cool. So I don't know. There's just other worlds out there, guys. That's for sure. And I say these things because everybody's kind of experienced stuff like that, dreams and clairvoyance, a little bit of precognition, right? We've all experienced little things like that. So I think if we could channel in on it together, this world would be a completely different place. I imagine what it was like around here before these nut jobs got a hold of the information and the news. Think about that a lot.
Absolutely, brother, because maybe our conscious mind doesn't know this, but our subconscious, every living thing knows this connection, but it's in their subconscious mind, right? Until the people find it and look for it and find it. So everybody have that. It's not that there is only particular people who can do that. Every living thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Sure. That's why they're targeting this part of our mind, guys, part of our brain and all of our bodies. I don't, a lot of money. I had my lung collapse. You know how much 8 days in the hospital was worth? $280,000.
Crazy.
Yeah, plus all the money they made off the cigarettes I bought. Jeez. Simple as that.
Exactly. So what we need to do is follow the pine cone trail. The pineal gland is shaped like a pine cone. To bluster claims of an organized effort to destroy our pineal gland, we can look to the pine cone imagery throughout the world. It is surprisingly common motif in sacred art. Why does every religion extol the image of a pine cone? They exalt the importance of pineal for the masses and keep teachings, the secrets, to the select few. It's an effective smear campaign.
Yeah, that's aggravating. Sure is. Effective.
And I think it's coming to an end because people are freaking waking up and it's time. We are in the age of Aquarius, right?
A lot of people say that more people are tuning into things like this like never before. I hope so, because anybody a real big fan of what's going on around the world right now? Anybody? I don't know. I'm asking.
But if many could wake up, and maybe if it helps them to wake up, all these things. Maybe it's part of the evolution, right?
Right. Sure. Such yeah, sometimes people need a fire on the couch to get off of it. In other words, right? You really need to be forced into things.
Oh yeah,
But whatever it takes.
exactly.
Right? Whether it's for fun or if it's like an emergency, doesn't matter. Do it. Find your way. Get your north. It's internal too, though, guys. It's very internal. Right? That's how those guys go to the mountains for months and weeks and months on end. That's interesting. It reminds me of a movie I saw when I was a kid. When things stick out in your mind, they're usually for a reason to me. So it was that Stir Crazy movie with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, and they put Gene Wilder in this little doghouse in prison, and they're like, "Yeah, leave him there for 30 days," and they left him in there. And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, this poor guy, they stuck him in a little doghouse." And they open the door up, and he pokes his head out, and he goes, "Please, just one more day. I just want one more day." And I was just so blown away. It took me years to understand what was going on in that little scene there. But he was into it. He was like, leave me alone. Now
That's crazy.
isn't that funny?
Like Beatrice Zayara says, "Are we in the age of Aquarius?" Some people say that the age of Aquarius started with the Twin Tower.
Yeah. Good old Babylon.
So the most ritual art still carries the potent teachings which cannot be so easily extinguished. Consider the Eye of Horus, a literal deception of the pineal gland resting inside the human brain. The Egyptians, the Mayans, the Kahunas, and others are still showing us the traditional way to work with our third eye, if we can decipher the ancient cues.
It's really cool how they knew back then that was the part of the brain we were talking about.
Exactly. They didn't have any scan or all
Right.
these gadgets, fancy gadgets. Yeah, because you could literally look through a person in those states of being.
Right.
You can look through trees, you could look through walls, you could look through dimensions, you could look through worlds, right?
Yeah.
So what is it looking through a human body?
Right. Vibration. That's what light that vibrates so much, we become physical.
Exactly.
It vibrates so low, rather, not so much. Actually, opposite, probably. But with low vibration, we become physical. High vibration, we become light. And there's ones in between, like a dream state where I don't know, the physical world is so different in dreams. So you wonder what the similarities are to like after this world. Because they say sleep and death are like related brothers, kind of. It's very similar to each other, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's a cycle, right?
Yeah, right. And the pineal gland helps us with that cycle, right? Like we were saying before, that the darkness produces the melatonin, and the light produces the serotonin. This is a direct relation between the two. or the 4, whatever.
Exactly. It has that function.
Mm-hmm. Helps us sleep, helps us be awake, keeps us, I don't know about in a good mood, right? Isn't that what they say, though? If you don't have enough serotonin, you get depressed. I think depression comes from possibly living in the past a little too much.
Exactly. Or wasting too much, right, on what's not
Yeah,
important.
exactly. Exactly. On, crazy scenarios that are never going to happen. Well, that kind of thought is just futile. So that's why I feel lucky I was able to give most of that up. I've been there with that scatterbrain and that monkey mind. The monkey mind was fun. I was going through all the equations. When I was a space fan, all that stuff was going through my head. So, but now it's just very, very different. I got into meditation. It was a little bit before Flat Earth, so it went hand in hand. I started meditating, and I wanted the monkey mind to go away because I wanted to try it, and it went away, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, I don't want that back. Get out of here. I didn't know fun. Thought it was great because I just didn't know better. 25 different voices going on, talking about hearing different things and, equations and scenarios. I was like, give me more. Now I'm like, I don't want any of that.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Just losing of energy in the, because it's not going anywhere, right?
No, it was just one wheel turning. That was it. One big dumb wheel. Nah, anytime I want those thoughts, I go back to them. I grab anyone, anytime, anywhere. One at a time, if I want. Nah, I don't know. It's just different. It's just different. And thank God I don't have those crazy equations going through my head anymore. And that, they basically don't even really exist in a functional life. That was fun to let go of. That really was.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
So what we need to do is bring in the light of the third eye to reclaim the path to our inner doorway, to ecstatic bliss and union with the source. There are different ways to do that. One is decalcification. Avoid fluoride. Like nearly 80% of the cities in the US put fluoride in the water supply. Special filters can be purchased to remove this chemical, or you can buy reverse osmosis water from your health food store. Be conscious of the fluoride found in the toothpaste. Avoid excess calcium. Even the calcium supplements are more detrimental than beneficial to our health.
Hey, by the way, guys, supplements are not regulated. Not that, I don't know if you care about what the FDA regulates or not, but I'm just saying supplements are a free for all, for real.
Oh yeah, because in reality it's not doing any good actually, because it's the same thing, right? We humans, our bodies are prepared to absorb whatever we are taking in a more organic way, right?
That's
That's
right.
how we really receive the nutrients or the medicinal properties or whatever we are intaking it.
That's right. And then we got to get rid of the rest.
Exactly. And they want to say to that the supplements are good, but it's not working because it's not, the body is not going to absorb it because it's not natural.
Hmm. I don't really take anything. I probably should. I'm a little iron deficient. I get cold real easy.
While some food inhibit the pineal gland, others will help decalcify it. Chlorella, apple cider vinegar, and iodine will help contribute to a healthy pineal.
What was that? Did you say that again, bro? Sorry.
Chlorella is like similar to a spirulina. It's a kind of algae.
Okay.
The spirulina and chlorella are like you can find in nature also, but people also do farming of these algae. These are supposed to be superfoods, right?
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
I don't look
they
into
have the
that.
it's they say like you are eating almost the sunlight because the algae only evolves on the photosynthesis, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
So taking this kind of algae is like literally eating sunlight.
Well, that's really
Spiral.
funny. I was just
Yeah.
out in my yard today, really enjoying some of the mosses and the lichens outside that I have on the rocks and in between the rocks, and I was just they're so beautiful, and I just love that stuff. So now I'm really interested in finding out what you're talking about here. See if I can grow it.
Although they're quite difficult, the chlorella and the spirulina at least to grow, but they're superfood, man. They're like
Mm.
100 times more potassium than banana, or more vitamin than 20 oranges, and
That's great.
it's amazing, the spirulina, or the another one is chlorella.
All right.
Even the apple cider vinegar is good. Vinegar is supposed to be very much like disinfectant, so could even kind of disinfect. And then
Right.
iodine also we spoke about, right? So from the real, like reaching the real sea salt is where you get the iodine, right?
Okay.
uh, because they even strip out the iodine before selling these salts, and that's what is
Huh.
really is the problem. People are iodine deficiency because of that, because that's really you need.
I'm allergic to iodine. I have to look into how I can do that. But there's different types because I know the shellfish, the iodine in shellfish is what I'm allergic to. And I was getting stitches in my leg once, and the doctor swabbed me with iodine. He says, "You're allergic to anything?" I said, "Yeah, iodine." He's like, "Whoops." Let me clean that up. It didn't do anything though. I didn't react to it, but I have reacted to shellfish, so I don't know if they're the same.
Oh yeah. So how you can even activate is like the third eye is once you decalcify the pineal gland, it's time to start using it to assist in all your spiritual endeavors. Many teachers will offer ways to activate the third eye. Then intention. I'm a firm believer in intention. Set your intention that you're able to work with and expand your pineal, and that it serves you in seeing a larger world than the perception around you. Could be also prayers or mantras or chanting. Prayers is our bypass to God. The Egyptians used prayers to activate the third eye and dissolve the illusion of separation. even yoga. The yogic masters knew how to honor the body's inherent spirit. Their traditions and well established principles offer ways to open the third eye. Intuition. Once you begin working with your third eye, you will begin to receive guidance, messages, and visions. You must have the courage to follow through on what your intentions or your intuitions offer to readily strengthen your pineal. Exactly. Don't back out.
Right. No, you have to, once you get your messages, you got to act out on them. Isn't that right, Vikka?
Exactly. If you
Right.
turn your blind eye, you're going to get that.
You're right. Don't ignore it. Hey, but let me ask you something. So, does it work forward or backwards? Like, let's say you get a message, you do the right thing, right, and then you get more messages. Does it work the other way? If you ignore the messages, you get them less, I would imagine. No.
No, you get a lesson.
Okay. So when the universe is nudging you and you don't listen, you're gonna get pushed.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, I see. That makes sense. So that makes a lot of sense. So pay attention to yourself, guys, right? That's what that tells me. And then because if you learn your lessons in an easy way, so what's the problem? You don't have to go through such hard lessons. Lesson is a lesson. Doesn't have to be hard.
Exactly. But if you are ignoring too much, you're going to get the hard way. When we don't understand things in the right way, life shows us in a hard way. So the same thing goes for that too, like when you are in that way.
Totally. Same, almost the same identical thing. Keep making the same mistake, you're going to pay dearly for it.
Exactly. So meditation is also good, can help with to open the third eye, like finding quiet places to meditate. You can try kundalini exercise, the chakra yoga, the energy center, or whatever is what makes you feel relaxed and at peace. Music.
I like being in the trees, in the grass, in nature. That's my favorite place to be. There's so much, like the intelligent life in a tree is just fascinating to me. They're spiritual too. They're grounded though, and they're all rooted and touching each other, but they're grounded. They can't move like we can. Think about stuff like that. Imagine that being there for 100 years, can't move much till the wind comes. That's interesting. They provide so much for this world too, in beauty and function and spiritual connection also.
Exactly. This is the thing, no? You will hear increasingly more about the third eye. So rather than keeping it as a merely a topic of interest, you're encouraged by all the benevolence in the galaxy or the universe to use this, your most sacred way to connect to God. It's your secret blessing. the surest way for you to become all you have dreamed and imagined. Your third eye awareness is your birthright, and a way you can know within yourself the immense love of this immaculative cosmos. Yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift. And the people who are not going to use that gift, it's going to be quite different.
This is a gift, and we're lucky to have it. I think we are. This is like anybody that you look at, guys, right? Someone who can do crazy math in their head, or some athlete. They're gifted, right? They're gifted at what they do. This is the gift that we all have, that we can all use.
Exactly. This is like an energy center in our body that can enhance our focus, our concentration, and also bring up intuitive abilities.
And creativity.
Exactly.
Creativity is endless in so many areas too, and we'll never figure out all the possibilities of being creative. So that's a world of endless exploration right there, no matter what field you're in or whatever, if it's a hobby or your field or whatever. I think we were born to be creative and to show that this world is exciting, and that's where creativity comes from, excitement.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I was speaking earlier about that athlete example, and a footballer, for example, is very focused on their practice.
Mm.
When they're constantly thinking about the game and how it can be improved, they develop an intuitive sense of where the next ball is going to come or be.
Right. It's
Like
true.
a top sportsman or a player wouldn't need an analyst to tell them things. They intuitively know what's going to happen because they have dedicated so much time and attention to that profession or that game or that work or that task,
It's true.
right?
You know, Wayne Gretzky was a hockey player, and he was called the Great One. And I think he still has records that guys can't beat. He's been out of he retired like 25 years ago, and his main thing was go to where the puck is going. Don't go to the puck. Right, be one step ahead of the puck, and that was like his big thing. Go to where the puck is going. Essentially,
Exactly. So
right?
the
Yeah,
same concept can be used, you know,
sure, very similar.
and also the businessmen, like who is extremely focused on their work, somehow knows how their client will react to a certain proposal or a situation.
It's true.
The enhanced alpha waves emissions help them intuit what may happen in the near future related to the field they are extremely focused on.
Wow, it's like musicians, I guess, too, writing hits left and right.
Exactly. So, how the brain waves are linked to our third eye. The third eye, to understand from a spiritual perspective, as we spoke about the agya or the third eye chakra, out of the 7 chakras, this is supposed to be one of the chakras, right? So this third eye chakra is connected to the body's pituitary and hypothalamus glands. Our brains emit different waves when it's experiencing different things. Beta waves are emitted when you experience sadness, loss, stress, or anguish. Alpha waves are emitted when we experience calmness, relaxation, and deep joy. Alpha waves have calmer vibrations and act as a sonar. The same thing when we spoke about the dolphins sonar, it's like a healing therapy too.
Sure, like cats.
The cats, right? Exactly.
Sure. Wow.
And dolphins are known to possess a high level of alpha wave functions in their brains, and this helps them to navigate the sea. Again, built in, right?
No questions asked either. They just right. They don't doubt that for a second.
Exactly. Their sonar works similar to a submarine.
Oh, is that straightforward and straight back?
Exactly.
Oh, so how does that work on a globe now?
Oh yeah. So physical, yeah.
The sea life is amazing how they read whatever they're reading, magnetic lines or the moon, whatever it is. But it's pretty amazing how many animals have that instinct. In this, and I'm thinking all animals really, but sea life's crazy. Like an octopus can go straight back to his house at the end of the day. He doesn't know how to go. He didn't leave in a straight line, but he went home in a straight line.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also in the children's, the pituitary and the hypothalamus glands are quite tender, which makes it possible for them to be more perceptive and intuitive. As we get older, the glands get stiff and some calculus gets deposited around them. The strength and the frequency of the alpha waves emissions diminish. And then finally we have the gamma waves. The gamma waves are the most powerful and can be experienced in a deep meditative state, also known as samadhi in the Vedics. So it's just reaching those gamma waves, right? Our brain emits alpha waves when the body is aligned with nature. When one is in sync with the nature through their actions and thoughts, their whole being feels that it's a part of the cosmos. Because of this, nature reveals certain things to a person who is experiencing high alpha wave activities. Commonly, that is called intuition. The third eye is equivalent to intuition. It develops when you are more centered and content. So the experience of gamma waves emissions happens in our subtle body, and only when we experience uh, we experience regular alpha waves emissions. The gamma rays emissions activate the third eye chakra. When the third eye activates, we experience a sense of lightness in our mind. So it's all about focus. You don't have to climb a mountain. You don't have to do any physical wear and tear to open your third eye. It's all about concentration and the energy and the focus. As we said, the meditation is one of the best route. These practices relax our mind and help it to get aligned with the nature. Too much eating, too much sleeping, and too much activity is counterproductive to increase our intuitive abilities. The people who regularly experience third eye activation feel a change in the way their breath flows. Usually, it is seen that the pace of our breathing is haphazard and is either flows from the left or right nostril. People who experience third eye activation feel that their breath is very deep and centered. This happens quite gradually, and if you feel third eye activation, then you will feel that your breath is flowing very centrally. Like team leaders and people who exhibit authority experience sensations in the middle of their eyebrow that is associated with the third eye chakra. So there are many different cultures that speaks about the pine cone. The name of the pineal gland comes from its pine cone-like shape. It is said that the pine cone was reverted by the ancient pagan people as the fruit or seed of the evergreen, a symbol which is connected to idea of eternal life. It's also been considered a phallic symbol for its shape and role in creating life. The pine cone is a symbol which can be found in many ancient civilizations and cultures. In Assyria, winged Jenny holding buckets and cones is a recurring motif in the Assyrians' iconography. I think we have seen that one also, very similar to the Sumerian ones, holding that pineal pine cone. One clear example comes from the palace of the king Sargon in present-day Iraq. These carvings date to 713 BC and shows winged figures which use the pine cones in rituals of either purification or fertilization. We also spoke about the ancient Egypt. The symbol of the pine cone is found on the staff of the Osiris, the caduceus, as you mentioned before, Gene.
Right, so over thousands of years, many cultures. They say in America, I think it's a symbol of welcome. You have that on your front lawn.
Oh yeah, and speaking about the pine and the pine cone, even the pine needles are supposed to be amazing. The pine needle tea is supposed to be amazing. It's kind of like a, disinfects, like, and also the pollen from the pine trees is supposed to be also like a superfood, or it works like doesn't let your cells age in a way. You know what I mean? It gives you that. It's a magical tree also.
Yeah, I bet.
And for definitely it helps to decalcify the pineal gland. The pollen from pine trees. Amazing.
I have a bunch of pines in my yard. Two of them are like 60 feet. They're big.
Exactly.
I'd like to learn how to like get some of that off of these trees. Yeah, I learned a lot tonight. I got a lot of homework to do tonight, bro. Or after tonight.
So some researchers link the snakes with the Hindu idea of Kundalini, in which the pine cone acts as the pineal gland or the third eye chakra. In Mexico, the Aztec goddesses of agriculture, nourishment, and plenty, named Chico Mecoatl, is often associated with corn. However, some researchers argue that her image can also be found holding pine cones in one hand and an evergreen tree in the another. In Greece and Rome and Italy, the god known as Dionysus to the ancient Greeks and Bacchus to the ancient Romans was often shown holding a staff covered with ivy leaves topped with a pine cone. This symbolic staff was known as a thysus and was carried and used by mystics in their rituals. So later the Romans built a massive bronze pine cone sculpture called Pigna that reportedly sat on the top of the Pantheon and served as a fountain. Now, this is thought to be the largest pine cone statue in the world. Can be found today in front of the Vatican, in the faces of everybody. So nobody questions it, right there in the face. So people just blindly don't see. The best place to hide is in your face, right?
So true. So what do they say that's for?
No idea. A decoration.
Yeah, right. Probably
Yeah, it's a geometric decoration, right? It looks very cute.
Yeah, it's probably beautiful. I noticed today how a closed pine cone resembles a snake skin. I had one in my hand today, and it's so smooth, so perfect. Like reminded me of like an armadillo with the scales, flexible, really cool.
Oh yeah, it's very similar to. It's the nature. It's the print. It's the stamp of the divine that's there on everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful.
When we spoke about, yeah.
There's just a lot of fun being able to look at a pine cone and be fascinated by it. It's like the simple things in life. You really enjoy them. There's nothing simple about a pine cone. It's pretty complex. If you try and draw one or build one, have fun.
Oh yeah, and that we discussed it in the Sacred Geometry podcast, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm. No, it's all over the place. It's awesome.
There's also a very good book called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. It's an amazing book too.
That sounds familiar. Who wrote that?
Rick Strassman.
That don't ring a bell, but that sounds familiar. The book.
Oh yeah, it's a whole study of the DMT and how it works on the pineal gland and all the experiment.
You see, and they demonize these things in public, make people afraid of them. See, the fear tactics.
Exactly, but if you have this whole study by a doctor with all the controlled environment doing tests and showing that it's working in that way, maybe for some rational people, it's all right to understand it, that there's something that exists like this, right?
Well, yeah, that's if you need peer-reviewed papers, sure, right? Is that what you mean?
Exactly, because there are some people who won't see it until it's not explained or done in that research way to show that there's some things that exist that works like that on some part of your brain, that things could happen, right?
So true. Yeah, they want 25 years of extended studies. After 25 years of extended studies, then they'll be happy.
Oh yeah. So this guy Rick Strassman, he did like for decades, these studies.
Well, that's good, because a lot of people do. They need that stuff. Personally, I don't. I don't need that kind of information to funnel through me as true.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we said, if you care about the FDA, supplements are not regulated. But what was the FDA to say? Look what they do and get away with. So.
But he also said more or less the same thing, you know, like the pineal gland is supposed to be a tiny organ, the seat of the soul, or the third eye of the ancients, right? Like, so this DMT or similar substance, by simple chemical alterations of the well-known pineal hormone melatonin, or of the important brain chemical serotonin, right? As you were speaking before. Perhaps it is DMT released by the pineal that opens the mind's eye to spiritual or non physical realities.
Or it could be the catalyst that puts you there. But there's really no denying it at that point.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the connection between the meditation and the psychedelics have been studied already by many different people.
Oh yeah.
Like the psychedelics and the meditation both decreases the activity and the connectivity in the brain's default mode. The loosening of the ego center could be fundamental in the therapeutic application of psilocybin, iboga, LSD, and ayahuasca currently being studied. So, by stimulating the deluge of serotonin that accompanies life-threatening stress, psychedelic appears to reboot the brain, providing an opportunity to unlearn the maladaptive programming that underlies addiction, depression, PTSD, OCD. You know, so it works.
Wow. That's interesting. It brings you
So the
back.
another, yeah.
It brings you back to zero, kind of, and lets you understand things in a totally different way.
Oh yeah, the whole dynamics change of you seeing how you perceive, right? Everything.
Yeah. And sometimes that goes away when the stuff wears off too. Though you get this crazy understanding of just everything, and then you don't understand it when you're done. You walk away like, what?
Exactly, and some people can experience this, like for example, as we spoke about the near-death experience, right? A shock, something happens, and then you really go out of your body and you see, right? And that's another way of having this a sudden experience of out-of-body experience, right?
Yeah, and a tragedy, and something traumatic.
Exactly.
Strange things definitely happen. And sometimes when when something happens to someone else, it can happen. Strange things can happen to the people around them in a traumatic situation.
Exactly. So they did many studies on this near-death experience too. Like, a common motive reported during an ayahuasca ceremony, the initiate lies in the ground as their soul leaps from their body and travels through the air. Sometimes this vision occurs with their eye closed as they survey the cosmos. Other times they look down and stare at their own meat casing on the ground. Regardless, traveling is a trademark experience of the psychedelic experience.
Right, and you go into different worlds that like kind of don't exist here. They're not so physical, not so three-dimensional. Hard to explain.
Oh yeah. So this gland becomes visible in the fetus at 49 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's early.
And that's what also some cultures say, that at 49 days is when your soul enters the baby.
Wow. Wow, that's cool. So what? Wait a second. Really? They have old cultures that say that?
Yeah.
Like how old? Do you know? Do you know right now?
Yeah, old culture. Vedic culture is one of the oldest.
Ah, so how would they know that? How would they know that? That's so crazy.
Yeah, because the ancient knowledge and wisdom is decoded, and it's so that the science is going to take time to reach, and they're gonna discover it in much more later. But
and
the
they're gonna dodge the answer for as long as they can too.
yeah, and speculations, right?
Yeah, exactly. And fake tests and stupid things. You know the drill. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Vedics say that. That's
And also
excellent.
also the Buddhist, because very similar, the Buddhist and the Vedics.
Right. Wow. So that's enough for me. That is so cool.
So these 49 days, which happens to be the length of the time of the in-between state of the soul, as some Buddhist texts refer to. This philosophy, most famously expressed in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, states that upon leaving one's body during death, the soul hangs the soul hangs out in a liminal space known as bardo. Okay, bardo is the word, according to the Buddhists, of this realm, that is supposed to be between this three-dimensional or this physical reality and the flip side. So there's a in-between world which you access through your pineal gland, right? By activating it or any other way, meditation or a near-death experience or whatever is the way. The phenomena is the same. So, so the soul lingers, like, be there in that space. Perhaps the life force of a human enters the fetus at 49 days through the pineal, and it may leave the body at the death through the pineal. The coming and going would be marked by the release of DMT by the pineal, meditating awareness of those awesome events. So the initiated disciple attains dominion over the realm of death, and being able to perceive death's illusionary nature, and is freed from the fear.
Vikka,
That's, yeah.
bro, that makes me say death's illusionary. It makes me feel more like it's life's illusionary.
Exactly, we spoke about it. If we are born, we have to die. There's nothing bad about the death. Okay, there's nothing negative. All right, it's where we come from. The day we are born, what is life? Life is a process of dying.
As soon as you're born, you're dying.
Exactly, every day. Right?
Yeah, sure. In a strange way, you're living. I don't know. This is a good conversation, bro, because they don't talk about this stuff the right way in society, and this is a fear thing that they got everybody so afraid of that they're afraid to live. And
Exactly. They're so scared of death or the unknown that they are fearful to live. Exactly. Well said, brother. So what the pineal gland can do is help you see all these things without dying, without having a near-death experience, without having a trauma, without
very good.
right.
Yeah,
So so when you see that with your third eye, even death becomes an illusion because we see that we live forever. We are part of the divine, right? We were not created, nor we are going to be destroyed, right? We are part of this creation. If it's not vibrating and in this frequency, it will be vibrating in another frequency, right? In another place.
absolutely. I believe that. I think I know it. It's more than a belief. I don't doubt it. I don't question it. I embrace it. I'm not worried. Don't. I wish I could convey that message to people.
Exactly. This illusion is the illusion of death comes from the identification of the individual with his temporal transitory form, whether physical, emotional, or mental.
Yeah, well, all of them attached to this world.
Exactly. And whence arise the mistaken notion that there exists a personal, separate egohood of one's own and the fear of losing it. Exactly.
Mm.
It's all been borrowed. Even this body is borrowed. We cannot attach to anything. Nothing is ours, right?
So true. So the ego
Everything
does.
is been borrowed.
Yeah,
Friends, family, this life, the body, everything. We cannot attach to nothing, right?
everything's temporary, brother, and it's good to have a healthy attitude about that because you never know. Doors open, doors close, move around. Got to be ready to bounce with life. That kind of attitude really helps.
Exactly. And the loss of ego is exactly what happens during the psychedelic ritual. The brain's region associated with the ego are taken offline. No Wi-Fi there for the ego.
That's funny. That's a good way to put it, though, because the ego is what gets erased when you find out you're one with everything. There's no real you. You're just part of a system, so to speak, I guess.
Exactly, because you're trying to control the situation or trying to understand the situations, so manipulate or whatever. So the best is, as we spoke, let it flow, let it show, right?
Yep. Most people, and I've done it. I'm not like portraying outward, but we all do it. Like you fight the current and you swim in and you swim in and you go nowhere. But when you relax and just go with the flow, that's when you kind of go places better. A lot easier. That doesn't mean just like agree with everything either. It's not like that. That's not what I'm saying. Just like be in the moment and don't react.
Exactly. The sensation of being part of everything in the universe can only occur when the limitations of the individual become apparent. The biography we cling to is only a fraction of reality. By removing antidotes from one's consciousness, psychedelics open you to the possibilities you wouldn't have otherwise considered. So the connection of DMT and the pineal gland is like right there, you know.
That's amazing though too, because we got cannabinoid receptors in the body as well. So these substances that have been banned and are illegal and are so, detrimental, it may not be so detrimental. Detrimental to who and what?
Exactly.
You think about prohibition for 100 years. They gave us alcohol over cannabis, and that was in any way, shape, or form. And that one plant will take out plastic, paper, pharmaceuticals, textile, all these industries will be gone tomorrow if that stuff's in the right hands.
Oh yeah.
And that's the truth too. So that was a huge campaign to put that under the rug, and it worked. It's propaganda. The first one out there screaming with the story usually gets the headlines, and the headlines are the winners of the story, usually, kind of idea, right? They put that thought in your mind, and you don't have any clue, but it's still hard to change your mind, just because that's where you heard it first.
Exactly.
Right, and then it takes 50 years of bogus research to convince people otherwise. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, they're doing their best to make sure that the people don't tap into this.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we said, what is it? The fluoride in the air, right? Is goes with the aluminum, and the fluoride helps us to absorb the aluminum. It's like, yeah.
Exactly, and it's also connected with the. It's also connected with the heliocentric, right? We not being special and all this is also helping that the people go away from these possibilities of connecting to the source, right? If they're literally just denying the source with their Big Bang BS and many other fake pseudoscience, right? So
No, exactly. It's a perfect annihilation world. To think that there's nothing beyond your mind, just what we tell you. Not much out there on land, not much out in space. These guys got it all covered. But they really don't. You know, this space stuff drives me nuts. Tyson drives me out of my mind, that guy. He really does. It aggravates me that he aggravates me so much. It's like he gets under my skin.
Oh yeah, they are doing the job. So if there was a bridge in that world where there are infinite numbers of dimensions, three-dimensional world we live in, the mystical science of the pineal gland is almost rethinking that the pineal gland is brain's radio receiver, and it can only be activated through a certain process. When this latent system switches on, arousal is created, and this energy moving from the body right up to the brain. That energy rushes up all the way to the pineal gland. The moment that happens, the brain goes into gamma waves, known as gamma waves patterns. They are having a full-on sensory experience without their senses. Imagine that, a full sensory experience without their physical senses.
That's really cool, bro. Because you that's like leaving the ego behind. Ultimate.
Exactly, and everything related to that ego, right?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
So,
because we're just tied to this physical world. This, the weight. We have weight. The electrostatic acceleration pushing us down. Is we're feeling that. It's opposite of what we're talking about right now, because there is no weight in that world. There's no physicality in that world, really. It's so different.
oh yeah.
So I can imagine if it being difficult to be new at this and not understanding it and thinking it's a little crazy, but it's really not, because everybody's experienced the precognition, all that stuff, right? Everybody had a friend call out of nowhere when they thought of them. So we've all experienced little things of it. It's just a matter how you, I think, treat it afterwards. If you're into that, go look for more, and you will find it. It's out there. And
Oh yeah.
keep in mind that they're targeting us with this stuff. There is no doubt about it anymore. 25 years ago, chemtrails were a conspiracy theory, right? Okay, so don't wait 25 years.
Oh yeah, that's also one way of calcifying us, right?
Yeah, because we don't all eat the same food, but we're all getting a dose. You think they do that because for our health, because they care about us? Come on, guys. That's not what it is.
So whatever going on between the years, the vision that they are having is not visualizing. Okay, when you are having this experience in reality, it's not visions or visualizing it. It's actually happening to them. When you are on those state or in those state.
Yeah, you can't separate the difference. Maybe because there is no difference. But
Exactly.
it is real.
It's more real than this real.
It's true. The colors, it is. It's just more real. How do you explain this stuff? You can't. But it's available to all of us. And guys, a lot of movies talk about these things. Getting in touch with your inner self and your mind, and the powers that the gifts that it could bring to you. Things that you might not even dream of thinking of yet. That's how powerful we are. That's how much power we have, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think about it plenty. That I wouldn't be surprised if there's worlds, even if this one could be one where, let's say I'm going to see you, Vikka. I could jump on a dolphin that took me to a whale that drove me over there. Just because that's how we communicate with nature. And I think that would be a fun world to be in, even if I was a dolphin or a whale.
Who knows, if we are connecting to this blueprint or the Akashic record or whatever you want to call it, the hard disk that contains all the information, right? When we access this through the pineal gland or third eye and experience these things, and it could show us, of us being in different aspects other than humans, right? Why not? That's why we have that spirit animal and all that things too, right? We have that, right? And the connection we have, right? Or even totally a different race or different civilization or different mutant or anything, right? So it could show you anything, right?
Don't limit it to what we know in this world. That's for sure.
Exactly. So this experience the people have during that, it's actually happening to them, right? So now this person is literally in a whole new another world or another dimension. So it's not only happening, it's literally taking them to another world or another dimensions or another parallel reality of your own existence, right? So it's literally going to different dimensions and different worlds or the forbidden lands, right?
Oh, sure it is. It's very real. Just like a dream, guys. When you wake up in a dream and you think about it for half the day or whatever it is, or a week, because it's so real. It's just like, wow, mind blowing.
Exactly. And this is like active dreaming, conscious dreaming when you are in this state or when you are seeing through the third eye.
Oh yeah, you're active participant. You're in a lot of the control, if not all of it. The scenario, people you're with, circumstance.
Oh, yeah. So that's why the pineal gland is called the third eye, because of its profound vision, because it's literally taking you to another places and connecting you with your real self, to your real essence, right? So once the autonomic nervous system switches on and goes into gamma brainwave pattern, the radio receiver have tiny calcite crystals stacked on rhomboederons that are on top of each other. And those crystals begins to shimmer, they begin to oscillate. Now the radio receiver is activated. So when the brain latches onto a frequency, the pineal gland act as a transducer. The pineal gland begins to release upgraded levels of melatonin. Melatonin already causes us to dream. But now you're going to really dream. So you see the connection with the dream and the melatonin and the DMT right there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think of that. That's great.
So now it causes us to relax. But now you're going to make benzodiazepine. You're going to chill way out. You are no longer going to be in survival.
That's a good way to put it, bro. Survival mode.
Melatonin is already an antioxidant. You're going to make two of the most potent antioxidant known to man. Anti-cancer, anti-aging, anti-heart disease, anti-stroke, anti-neurodegenerative, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. And then you imagine how much important it is for our survival. In reality, these chemicals inside us.
It shows you how resilient the human body is.
Exactly.
You know, right? Because they're attacking us left and right.
And that's why you have all these problems, right?
Yeah, it's hard to avoid anymore. But you know, I do something mentally that I don't know if it works. Maybe some of you have heard about it too, but like I pray to all my food, and I just like put a blanket or a bubble of well-being over everything I try to say and do, and you know, it doesn't always work, but I'm definitely trying, and hopefully that resonates out with people. You know, just that thought of well-being with everything that you encounter in your life. I want it like the water. I think about the water you guys drink now, because Vikka, what you told me about putting a glass of water near your bed and let your spirits, you talk to the water, your spirits talk to the water, you talk to each other, and it comes to you in your dreams, and through the water, because water is alive, and you know, the creator made this place and everything is alive, right? So that's how I think of things, and I try to communicate with things like that, and I love those pieces of information you get from me, Vika. I love it. I've skipped once or twice, you know. I definitely can slack here and there, but that's a whole new thing for me with the water near my bed and the communication right there.
Oh yeah,
And
because water does retain information, right? And it's a good medium between our energetic body to give that information to the water that we can drink the next day in the morning, right? It's
that's, I love it. You know, I drink the water before my coffee. Sometimes I drink it all at once. It's different ways, you know. I'm experimenting with it, but
oh yeah,
I'm definitely trying to communicate with it and be a receiver of the communication back that I get from it.
exactly. Because once we are in those dream state or in the dream, it's like our astral body or our soul or our spirit or consciousness, whatever you call it, it's free, right? And it
Yeah.
has the possibilities to connect, contact, and cure and heal, and to different ways, right?
Oh yeah.
Or to be more harmonious, or make the situation more harmonious, or right, or easy, or right.
Sure. You can understand things better, and that's the key with half of the things. Yeah. If you understand it, it's not a problem anymore, right? You know how to deal with the problem if it is a problem. But understanding things is a huge key.
Exactly. So we saw that how important it is, right? These chemicals in the brain, like, is helping us for our well-being, right? And
Well, yeah. Or else I don't think they would really be there.
so this is the thing. So when the melatonin and the benzodiazepine happens, that, and then you make that amazing chemical dimethyltryptamine, DMT, which is supposed to be in our body and in every living thing, right? In very small quantity, but it exists, right, in itself. And that begins to switch on. And what happens is you no longer move through space to experience time. You move through times and you experience dimensions or space.
That's great.
Because this is the thing, because the biggest lie we have ever been told is we are linear beings living a linear life. In reality, we are dimensional beings living dimensional lives. And when the doors of the dimensions open to you and get a glimpse of how big this really is, you're going to care less of politics, who's famous, who's not, because you're going to realize that, and many more other things. There are people who have switched to this latent system, and they have a greater understanding of who they really are. So it's important for us to know who the hell we are. We all want to know where we live and everything. But yes, it's important to know who we are too, right? Apart from all the everything they push to us right from the time we are conscious, right? Get conscious, and we get that all that pre-planned indoctrinated stuff for us to come, like, make us in a box, like,
No, exactly, bro.
compartmentalize us, and not think out of the box, and
No, this, Vika, this is why I feel like countries and flags are a divisive tool. Because there are no countries and flags and stuff. It's just people, man. I don't believe in that stuff, really. I do. I think it's all division. Because if we found each other like stranded in a desert, you're gonna really care where I'm from? If we can help each other, you know what I mean?
exactly. And when you see through these eyes, you're gonna see it doesn't matter where you from or what you do or whatever.
Ah, none of that stuff means
Because
anything.
if we are a one whole unity conscious, and once we see and feel that, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It doesn't. People. I got into arguments with my friends because I wouldn't support the flag. I'm like, get out of here. It's just a flag. Everybody's welcome in this world. You don't have to fly a flag to be here. It's just stupid to me. I was like, that's dumb, man. I was always kind of weird like that, though.
Oh yeah. So yeah, brother, we could have gone forever also in this topic. It's like any other
Yeah,
topic that we cover, we
bro.
always scratch the surface,
Totally.
so it's for the people to have idea that it's nothing magical or it's nothing out of this world. It's all in us, the whole
Mhm.
universe or the whole cosmos is within us, and it's totally accessible to every person who want to access. It's all about us to give that time and effort and energy to have those answers of sometimes the questions that we don't never thought that existed, right, until we have those answers. And it is really important for us to have that north and be well furnished our mind, and this can help us to focus, to concentrate, and don't get lost in those all those information and disinformation and division, to separate the difference of truth and disinformation, right, that the majority is trying to do, to make sure that you never get to the real truth, right? Because in reality we are one, and until we don't sense that, and the third eye or the pineal gland helps us understand that, and there's more to life than what we just see, right? And
Mhm.
so anyway, we're gonna have last thought, Ginny, brother. We could have gone forever, but
Oh yeah, bro. Totally great. Awesome subject. I love it. That was a lot of fun, bro. And I appreciate you having me with you, man. That yeah, a lot of it is your intention, though, guys. And you got the right intention. Your true self is going to know and will provide you with with things that'll help you guide yourself to your true potential, right? And it takes patience and consistency, though, because it's not like like we're talking about plant medicine versus pharma. Pharma gives you like instant gratification. That's what people want, man. Turn the fucking TV on, it's right there. Everything's right there. Blah blah blah. Burger King, Netflix, and chill, all that, right? But life is more subtle and slow, and I think they shortened our lives, so we're trying to rush through the 80 years, 100 years they give us. So it's all backwards, and it's nice to be part of this. To think that people are really coming around to understand and and really have a good understanding of a deeper meaning and purpose for life and what we're doing here. And we're not just flying around, light speeds in a vacuum. That's just crazy nonsense. And most of the stuff that these people are offering with that story is pretty much kind of the same crazy nonsense. It's just the exercise in futility on like one single hamster wheel running around in your head, when you could have hundreds of gears working in your head and concert with each other and really get your mind flowing. But I would love to see people practice trying to open the pineal gland and eat more healthy, and pay attention to those subtle messages that you are getting. And that is like the true you, right? It's the true us, that there is no ego there. And that's a lot of fun, guys, because then we become one big community. And if there's 100 people working for one person, that's great. And that's what it would be. It would be 100 of us working for you and 100 of you working for us. Right? It would be a really good team without all the football and all the nonsense they got going on. It really would. There's no competition out there, guys. Everybody's pretty equal. We got our strong points and weak points, and most people want to help other people with the things they call weak points, not what I would call a weak point. That's not for me to say. But I think people are really tired of this system, and the pineal gland could be a really super functioning part of how to get rid of this system. Because if we could beat their fear factor with better mental conditioning, then we won. And you'd understand that what these schools and these institutions are trying to show us is just a bunch of fear tactics and nonsense. And we don't need this stuff, you guys. And it's been a great pleasure being here with everybody tonight, guys. And Vika, thanks for the show, brother. That was a lot of fun. Very cool. I got a couple things to look up. I'm going to start drinking my apple cider vinegar again. See, I'm an out of sight, out of mind guy. Terrible with that. I'm going to look up the chlorella and the spirulina. I got a lot of homework to do. And I'm definitely glad to be here tonight, brother.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. Awesome and well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like these people, they try to infect the software, by decalcifying the pineal gland, because they know, because if this software works, we're gonna all right. We're gonna not let the agenda continue, all right? Because that's what they're really doing, because that software is in all of us, that pineal gland, the third eye, right? Which connects us universally as a one being, a one consciousness, right? And that's what they don't want.
Like
so
a big family, guys. We
exactly.
are a big family here.
So thanks, brother Genie, for being here. Awesome show, brother.
Yeah, you too, bro. Thank you.
One for the books.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good one.
So thank you everybody for being here. So your third eye might be listening to this information. Do with it what you will, but always remember to respect yourself and others, no matter how many eyes you have. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you everyone make sure you guys check us out on the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, guys, signing out. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.